we go! We'd love to see it. Perplex is down 1 right now as Halls of Atonement gets started and Ambition looks to further their lead.
I love how in that hype trailer we have Shelly popping up to the 200k DPS, and even though Shelly isn't here in the competition, the fact that he's throwing, we're seeing the Desterlock picks coming out just because he showed how strong it was here in this dungeon. This is going to be sick to see. Perplex going for that normal double shard pull where you go down to the bottom left, pull double shard, go crazy with the warlock cooldowns, and again, check it out, Ashine doing 200k DPS off the start, even going beyond at the 250k.
They have 3 shards!
Well, Ambition is going for the triple shard.
3 shards! Okay, there's 3 shards in this pool. They pulled both of them on the left side when you go in, and 1 on the right side. This is an absolutely insane pull. I don't even know how much percentage there's going to be once this is going down, but there's so much things going on at the same time that you have to watch out for.
300K.
You see all of these curses going out, and look at the amount of damage once he's doing, and that Dastro look absolutely crazy. And this is why they're running this Guardian Druid, because Guardian Druid can do these huge pulls because of that strength of the Incarnation with the legendary combination. Wow, absolutely crazy how they're pulling this off.
Check out the control there as well. The control there as well. They all back up into that far back corner so that they don't have to worry about the Spiteful Shades running towards the ranged at all. They keep it locked down with the slows from the Frost Mage. And even though there's a little bit of double thrash damage coming out from the 2 shards that are still alive, they're totally safe. Don't have to worry about the Spitefuls finishing them off. That 1 trash pull got them to 55% trash, and all they need to do is deal with this just 1 mob off in the corner here.
Yeah, the one difference I can see is that the Bloodlust is going to be up earlier for Perplexed, but that's not really going to matter because you want to line it up with your cooldowns anyway, and you're only going to get 1 more usage of all of the cooldowns out. So that really does not matter, as Ambition is already fighting Lord Chamberlain, and you can see they're waiting for their Bloodlust to come back up, as it looks like Astro is already popping cooldowns before the Bloodlust is running. I wonder why. I wonder if that was a mistake, as Perplexed is now engaging Lord Chamberlain as well. You can see their Bloodlust is already ready, but they are waiting for Wolf Disco's cooldowns, so they're delaying their Bloodlust a little bit as well. And you can see the boss is just going to be dropping in a second, as Incarnation has been popped by Nerf, and the Bloodlust is just waiting to be used on Ambition's side. Perplexed still holding on to their last as well, though.
I believe they're waiting for their Infernals to come back off cooldown. That's the big thing that they want to have.
That's so long, though.
Is it though? It should completely line up perfectly, though. Okay, they're waiting. They're waiting now. They just go now. Perplex just goes now. They have to go now because even it's so rough because you really want to line up all your cooldowns, but they're doing it just because they feel like they have to. That's rough. They don't have the Infernal up, and Ambition has still not popped their Bloodlust, and they're still ahead on the boss. I mean, it looks like Ambition is still in the driver's seat. The second they pop their Bloodlust, they're going to catapult into the lead here.
Yeah, I wonder if this might be a safety thing, because we can't forget the fact that they actually left up 3 Tormentors. So they have the 3 debuffs here, the slow, the physical damage increase, and the 50% healing reduction. Both of the teams have these 3 debuffs. So that is a lot of damage to out-heal with that debuff. Maybe that's why they were holding that Bloodlust
this is going to be so close.
Pair it up with the Ashen. And you can see just how absolutely close this is, as Ambition now caught up, because their Bloodlust is still running, and both of the teams have 0 deaths. And you can see Ambition just ahead a little bit, but it's so close. This
the
might
PI
go down
is up
to
for Perplexed.
second.
Who's going to take this first? Can we even call it? It's going to be Ambition. It's Ambition by less than a second. We're going to have to go to the admins for that. That's... it looks like the admins have called it for Ambition, because we can see Ellesmere exploding in excitement there, but we're going to have to see the timers. That looked incredibly close, but...
We'll see if they're going to be pulling that off, as Echo has to deal with basically no trash at all here. Actually, it looks like they did pull Varus.
Okay.
So with the boss, okay, this is a crazy pull. With a spear too, so they don't have a spear for the Angels at all. They're just going to be committing their Pyrian Spear for Varuth, the Justicar, and a bunch of trash. This is crazy with the Menders as well in here. This is actually really good. They're going to be getting so much percentage, plus the Anima power, while also being able to cleave the boss. This is such a good way of using that spear. Yeah, I mean, if they don't need the spear for the Triple Angel, then this is incredibly efficient. Wow, okay, very interesting.
it's such a safe strategy too, right? Because you don't have to really worry about taking any of that major damage, and if you're not taking any damage, you're not really too worried about the healing reduction debuff that Executioner of a Ruth puts on your group, right? So bursting all that trash down with the Windwalker Monk in that spear, I mean, I like that. If they're able to pull off the triple Angel pull with no spear, this is sick. I love it.
Actually running back already. He picked up the spear, it looks like. So yeah, a little bit of a difference in routing between Complexity and Echo here, but both of them being really fast. Echo already engaging a Marth here with Baruth as well, right after they had picked up that Anima Exhaust buff. With a Marauder too, looks like they are doing that same pull that we've seen some of the teams already execute, but this seems to be even bigger, actually. They have a lot of trash on top of this. Yeah,
there's an entire trash pack plus a Necromancer in here, and it all gets completely destroyed by now's usage of that orb that they didn't use earlier on. I mean, that looked so easy for Echo. As long as they're able to get both of these mages down before the boss finishes. Oh, it's not even going to be close. That mage is going to be long dead, and now they can just It just doesn't look like it's going to be enough. These random spot deaths have cost them a lot of time over the course of the dungeon, and I think the way that Echo routed out the middle section of the dungeon between the first and second boss just saved them so much time. I mean, look at that boss 2 split at the bottom of the screen. 45 seconds faster than that of Complexity. Still just iterating on design, on routing throughout the dungeon. This is the Echo throughout the years that we've come to expect to show up in the global finals. Remember, Echo has won the last 3 global final tournaments that we've had. These guys come to play in the clutchest of moments, and it's good to see them back here after they were just unable to take their group stage over Incarnation earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, the only way for Complexity to catch up here is to commit all of their cooldowns, maybe get a crit on that spear somehow that they still have left, and then they also have to fight. Oh yeah, sure, you can't crit anymore, so I guess that's not going to be out for them. It is possible that maybe if they skip the exile, because Fragnance actually got exiled for Echo here without being able to flip off, and Clicks also getting exiled here as well. Now Lip getting exiled for Complexity, so a bunch of people being gone, and you can see just how much more damage Complexity had because they had more weapons available. They saved all the way for this last boss, and you can see they caught up quite a bit on boss DPS. Remember their 10 seconds death penalty on their board, but you can see just how quickly that boss is dying with all of these weapons being thrown onto the boss, and look at the amount of damage that Fired Up is doing as well. I would assume some of it is the spear damage, but yeah, just crazy damage here by Complexity. Somehow, Echo now has another exile, and Gingy actually committing, actually dying here. So to get a rest back up, that means there's only 5 seconds difference in favor of Echo. So after the boss is dead here for Complexity, keep in mind they also have to kill off the Flashcrafter.
No, they're gonna win.
There's 5 seconds. Yes,
Looks
5
like
seconds for Echo, and I'm not sure that's gonna be it. Echo just somehow not having any damage. Actually, the boss is dying really quickly. That's it. Complexity winning. Wow. Oh
Talk
my
about
goodness.
that come from behind victory there on the side of Complexity. Getting to the boss later, looking like it was going to be all she wrote, and they tie up the series here with that victory in Necrotic Wake, Dranos. That's just ridiculous.
In terms of how the dungeon works with the Ashen Hollow Wings, anytime there's forced downtime in your routing, such as this RP right here, where you just kind of have to wait to get into the dungeon, that's forced time that your cooldown will come back up, right? So that's pretty good as well. But they are going to be pulling trash, this Executioner, into the next trash pack. But like you mentioned with Complexity, they pulled the trash that they skipped. They're going to be in combat with it, and whenever they get through this RP, that trash will snap down to whatever they choose to deal with. It's probably going to be with Executioner of Ruth here. So in about 10 seconds or so, that trash should snap down.
I really like this. This is such a cool idea by Complexity. Getting that extra trash pack into the Ruth, because that is something that the teams struggled with, these MDI teams. Because you kind of want to deal with the Ruth, because it's so incredibly hard to deal with it on the last boss, and you also want that extra power because it gives you a DPS power, not a defensive one. So lots of teams have been dealing with Varuth, but there's just not a lot of trash around that he can skip, that he can pull into it. So teams have been trying to do efficient pulls with Varuth, and some of them try to pull the Shackled Souls, like Echo just did. But I really like this by Complexity. Just having this 3 extra mobs on top of Varuth seems so incredibly efficient for them.
Yeah, Incarnation now heading around the side of the map. They are not going to be waiting for that heartbeat to go. They are instead just going to be using their broomsticks and slow falling down. Junkrat here, actually on a stealth mission. Going to take the longest slow fall here to get to this second platform. Maybe start the combat with this stuff. Maybe land a sap on one of these insects to prevent it from getting involved in this pull, because those insects can be pretty scary. Actually, they want the insects. They're just they sapped them so they'd be right where they were going to get the pull all together. And this is going to be a huge pull. No Moonkin cooldowns, but basically everything, actually not really, basically no cooldowns, just Frostmage sustained damage is what they're going to be relying on to get through this massive 23 fortified AoE pull at the end of the dungeon. This sort of thing is so scary. This is the kind of pull that we see so many teams struggle with. You can see the mob's health bars are just going down so slowly. They are making progress. No deaths so far, but a lot of mechanics they have to keep managing here.
Yeah, this is the problem when you're running both the Rogue and the Moonkin, right? The Rogue does have a lot of single target damage, priority target damage, but lacking in AoE compared to some other classes that we are seeing. And then of course Moonkin without cooldowns, kind of the same thing, just sitting there trying to do as much as he can, but just really lacking that damage outside of cooldowns. Cryptics dropping incredibly low with all of those Reaver debuffs coming out. They do have Yoda that can help dispelling that poison to be able to just be safe. And then on top of that, you also have the bursting coming out. You can see everyone's struggling to survive as the Ice Log is being used by Cryptics, plus they lay on hand as well. So overlapping some cooldowns here. And you can see bursting just stacking up on everybody. Yoda, of course, not being able to play Dwarf, because Druid unfortunately cannot be a Dwarf, so you don't have that extra cooldown available to get rid of your stacks. And Moonkin's also not having an immunity. So I would say that Yami is probably saving all of those magic dispels to save Yoda, because he's like the only one who can't get rid of those stacks.
Which ends up being about 1% worth of count of benefit out of that. So we'll see if that ends up being relevant. That's the kind of number where maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, maybe you end up going over by that much anyways, as both teams now getting started with the trash pull. Actually, Obey Alliance getting started while Aster Y already have finished off the Guardian and are now just working on some of the side trash here.
Where did they get these Shackled Souls from?
That is a mystery, yeah.
Where are these from?
Those might be the ones that Obey Alliance just did from their first platform. Maybe Aster have found a way to tag those mobs and get them to snap down?
Maybe. That would be insane. I wish I could rewind and figure out where those mobs came from. Anyways.
Really important to prioritize that damage. Is Anuo taking a lot of damage. They are going to be able to survive. They need to kick that Bone Spear, and it's not going to get kicked. They've got a player down now.
Yeah, just a slight bolstering mismanagement. Ooh, are they burning a battle res on this?
Yeah.
Look at that. They end up just committing a battle res. They're so confident in their own play. They realize that they don't even want to waste the time to be able to just manually res that. They'll commit the battle res and they'll figure it out later. And Obey Alliance, hey, this is how they're getting back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, that is... The battle res uses less time, right? But it is that very important resource. They don't have any battle res now for the next few minutes, so you've got to be very confident. You've got to subscribe to that philosophy of Yodo. It's a sister philosophy to the YOLO philosophy, and it means you only die once. And as long as that's true, then using a battle res isn't a bad thing.
Super happy if you're Obey Alliance. They are effectively they have the exact same pulls left in the remainder of this dungeon to do between these two teams.
Yeah, this 1% is not going to change anything about the remaining pathing through the dungeon.
No,
Obey Alliance, this is a tragedy there. That Warlock Gateway was supposed to go up to the top of the terrain there, but it did not work, and that's going to cost Obey Alliance an extra 15-20 seconds there. Yeah, tremendously unfortunate turn of events, yeah.
Looks
It's
like
rogue
Ambition
cooldowns.
just did that faster. Is it rogue cooldowns or is it as a GG procs?
It's rogue cooldowns. JBC did commit, while Freg did not. I'm pretty sure the reason why Echo is deciding to do that, because I noticed that yesterday as well. Actually, Ambition is immediately pulling the boss. Okay, this is absolutely crazy.
This is nuts.
Ambition, this is so risky. They pulled instantaneously onto the boss with the Tormentor and the Goliath. This is such a difficult pull to execute, especially because JPC used the cooldowns on the previous pack. So look at 1C and JPC dropping so low from all of the damages coming out from this pack. It looks like they did see the Mender off, but everything else is in this pack. This is crazy. Nerf dropping incredibly low as well. Echo now also did engage the boss, but a little bit later in comparison because they were just a little bit slower in that first pack. Fragments having those cooldowns means they actually dealt with the trash slightly quicker, but Ambition, wow, that's great. But look at the boss damage though.
Look at the damage
Echo
from
having so
clicks.
much boss damage.
Look at the damage from clicks. He's spinning out of his mind right now. He was peaking at like 75 or 80k. He must have just gotten back to back to back dance procs. That is nutty. I mean, obviously there's some level of RNG that averages out of the course of the dungeon, but if there's any time in the dungeon to be getting procs like that, it's right now, and that has definitely secured them a tiny advantage, even though they pulled the boss later. And remember, they have to deal with one entire less trash pull here than Ambition. I think Echo is still slightly in the lead. I think it all comes down to how fast Ambition is able to deal with this pull. This is what they've been saving that spear for. Going into Execution of Earth on top of the double Hellions with the Goliath in there, the spear is instantly procced once everything is in that AoE, and the AoE damage has to come out. The Windwalker Monk is what you want to keep an eye on here. Is he able to get those Dance at GG procs? And it looks like he is. Look at the burst damage coming out of 1Z there. Almost 100k on only 5 targets. Varuth is already dead.
Wow, that was so much damage coming out of Ambition. Just incredibly clean, that pull. We've seen so many teams wipe to this one, and look just how fast Ambition was. 2 Tormentor debuffs, 50% physical damage increase, and 50% slow, so it can still be difficult on a plus 22 Tyrannical. Echo now also done with theirs, but they are pulling the boss, I would say, 5 to 10 seconds after Ambition. That's going to be the difference between those two teams. Now it's going to be all about boss DPS and how much cooldowns and how much damage they have available for this one.
I mean, this is just a full-out single-target DPS blast race. Who can do the most single-target DPS? Ambition coming in with roughly a 5% boss lead. But, I mean, Echo are amongst the best players in the world. There's a reason that they're able to take so many world first titles on raid bosses. These guys are insane at DPS, and that 5% boss advantage has already dropped to 2% for Ambition. I mean, Echo is hot on their heels. You're not going to be able to let up here at all if you're Ambition.
Definitely not. You can see Devils just dropping lower and lower for both of those teams. You have to keep an eye on those offensive cooldowns that they are going to be committing. The Ashen probably not going to come back up because both of them did commit it for those Triple Angels, but the damage dealer cooldowns, Sally actually having to use the Lay on Hands here now to be able to keep him alive. That is also something that you don't want to have to do. You want to make sure that you take as less damage as possible to be able to have the healer DPS. They want to have as much damage as they can, so needing the healer to actually heal the group instead of DPSing is going to be a downside. You can see Echo now getting Devils down as well, but Ambition just so much damage. They're now in a 5% difference in their favor, but Echo definitely catching up.
I mean, I feel like it's going to come down to proc RNG here, right? Like, the rogue damage is very, very consistent. They're going to be doing just over 9k across the board. But the Frost Mages, if they get the Flurry procs, the Monks, if they get the Dance of GG procs, it's all going to come down to your proc generation. How skilled are you as a player? Echo has closed the gap and passed up Ambition. Just getting the procs, playing the classes right. This is neck and neck. The biggest difference is that Ambition is going to get into this intermission first because it is timed. Remember that. They are going to get into that intermission phase before Echo, but I mean, Echo might actually get there fast just based on percentage. Actually, if they could push it to 30% first, they'll get to the intermission first, and actually, they're going to do that. Where is this damage coming from Echo? Is it really just the procs? I was kind of memeing when I said that.
I don't even know at this point. Devils dropping to 30% in just a second for Echo here. Not sure where this damage came from, but they're all of a sudden procced that second intermission before Ambition. And Ambition pulled the boss earlier, so this is all going to be about some cooldowns. You can see Shadow Blades coming up for both the rogues actually at somewhat the same time. Actually, JPC is going to have it a little bit earlier. Yeah, this is crazy. I don't know what's going on anymore, as Echo is now the last phase. You can see they caught up so much on damage. The boss is dropping lower and lower for Echo. I'm not sure if Ambition can catch up, because they're taking quite a long time to throw the spear onto the boss. The Ashen coming back up for Alismir. The Ashen might make the difference.
Is the Ashen enough?
Zelia does not have Ashen available for him, but the boss is just dropping so low for Echo, 4%. Ambition definitely catching up a little with that Ashen down, using all of those cooldowns, but no wings available for Alismir just yet. There we go.
Where did
Echo
it come
somehow, I have no idea. Echo just somehow finding that damage and beating Ambition 2-0. Oh my goodness.
As you can see, Moizala will be spawning. And they're gonna pull this trash. Is it right into the boss? Is that the idea? There's a patrolling enraged spirit. Oh, and Bron! Bron knocks everything out of the AoE for Incarnation. No! Not what they were hoping to see.
Bron, what? Oh no, and this enraged spirit is also patrolling awfully close to them. They have to be careful to not aggro that one. But yeah, you can see Aster Y now also getting back to the boss, and they have already done this trash. Oh, alright, so both teams actually deciding to go with that full physical damage comp. So no Moonkins on either side, no Rasta Druids either. That is a comp that Complexity like to run in the group stage. In the group stage they were running that Kyrian Rasta Druid for Mists, but they're going away from that Rasta Druid. They also haven't been running it in the Theater of Pain either. Looks like they're done with it maybe. They're like, okay, this Rasta Druid, maybe just not working out. Let's just go back to that Venthyr Holy Paladin and see what we can do. As both Perplexed and Complexity are doing this Arcalef pull with trash, with 2 trash groups actually. And Wolf Disco going down for Perplexed. That is so bad for them. Actually, they're not even committing the Ashen. This is very interesting. The Ashen not being committed by Ryzen here.
Yeah, and you see a Shine off to the side trying to get Wolf Disco rezzed back up. But he lost all of his CDs. You see that True Shot is on cooldown. We saw him drop his Kyrian ability. That Resonating Arrow got dropped a little bit earlier, and that's so bad for Perplex. I was about to commend them because I really liked how they opened up the gate already to be able to allow people to eat those mushrooms, to be able to get to full HP, but this is gonna be a full wipe! No, this is so bad for Perplexed.
This is actually horrible. This is probably why all of the other teams that we have seen so far doing this pull, they have all committed the Ashen Hollow for this. And the thing is, Ryzen actually just popped it as soon as they wiped. Look at Ryzen. He had not used it, but they were wiping, so Ryzen was probably thinking, you know what, I'm gonna pop the Ashen to recover, and then they had a wipe anyway. And now it's going to be a disaster for Perplex as they're trying to go much, much slower here, pulling those shades, but they're not even surviving dead as they just keep dying over and over. This is a disaster for them. And yeah, not committing that cooldown there, really just making the difference for Complexity. Complexity having that cooldown on JB being used, having a much easier time dealing with that trash. And now they're on their way to that first boss already. They're going to be engaging that boss. They don't have the Ashen, but they have the Bloodlust, and they have all other cooldowns from the other damage dealers, so they should be able to make the damage check here as long as they get Ingra a little bit lower. You can see most of the damage being focused on Ingra. They need to get her to around 80% before they push the Droman to be able to make that push.
And Perplexed is somewhere in the range of like 3 to 4 minutes, even potentially behind.
Can be one of those dangerous points, especially since JB does not have Ashen available. We've seen a lot of teams that pull trash into this. They actually got hit by Rubies. They're gonna die.
No.
Okay, the cheat death is procced by Lip. So Keep did go down, of course, because there's no cheat death. And JB, thankfully, JB had bubble available there. He had to bubble out of that stun to not die there. Otherwise, both JB and Shakib would have died. That would have been horrible because they only had 1 Belrus available. But yeah, thankfully they did manage to recover here, and they still have to pull this trash if they want to. They have to, right? They're 52% trash. They're gonna have to pull something on top of this boss.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate situation. All 3 of their melee were just sitting there looking at one another like, wait, who hit the fox? It's just like they're pointing fingers at one another. Exactly. And so they were able to get the Masked soothed and the Death Speaker soothed, which reduced the amount of group-wide damage, and at the same time, it reduced the amount of damage that
I guess the
taking.
rogues from both teams can dispel as well, so you can do it, but it's
but they wanted
it's still
both.
scary. Yeah, exactly.
They wanted 2 soothes. And so now this pull right here for Team Name, this is a pull that you want the trash to be left alive as long as possible. Curry leaping up into the air, 3 inches off the ground with that bomb, not blowing up his team.
That works! Why have I ever taken any of these portals?
Because you are but a fool, Dratnos. And now...
Oh my goodness. I knew the tornadoes worked from the start. I didn't know you could just press your space bar.
Yep, just
Skylark
spacebar.
did.
So 40 can do his best Tin Man cosplay for Halloween, of course.
Yeah, great transmog there on 40.
He's always had the most absurd transmog. Oh, okay, so now he busts out the pet. He's going to be using this pet for the Bloodlust. Since they're not running that mage, he's going to be the primary source of that Bloodlust. And then he's going to dismiss his pet because you don't... Look at this. He doesn't really want it. But he presses it right before the pet goes away.
Do you know how much extra damage that pet adds to this pull?
0.
A Gorillion. Team Name keeping this pull going. They have actually got this boss quite a bit lower. It is a little bit awkward as well. Doesn't it take a little while to ramp back up to full damage if you're a hunter and you have to summon a pet too? Boss is active again. You need to be really careful as well to not fire off any inadvertent stomps on the group. Looks like they've done it.
Yeah, so Stomp can potentially be completely avoided if you're... Ooh, interesting. Okay, so Stomp can potentially be completely avoided if your tank is standing outside of the boss's hitbox the whole entire time. However, Team Name there, Curry walks in, gets intentionally stomped on, and then he diffuses the debuff back onto the boss.
Does Stomp debuff actually does that have a dot component as well?
I've heard rumors that you can diffuse that back onto the boss.
That is apparently huge damage according to Automatic Jack, so hugely powerful little maneuver there from Team Name. Oh, and Zorthus down again for Obey Alliance. Get from the 9 to keep himself alive, entering meta as well. All of these lines running through the group. They need to be really careful with their damage. Get all 3 of these mobs killed evenly. If any of these mobs dies early, it'll be a disaster. Right through the raid. Igloo goes down, the marker comes out, the battle res too, but things are starting to get sketchy. Great damage getting so high here. Anda doesn't have block, doesn't have pod tender, is taking so much damage, needs a heal so bad. 1 heal, please. Ends up going down. Team Name now just has 4 members left alive as they get to that crucial execute moment. Is Touch of Death available?
They're kind of off.
Oh, one thing dying. We need Touch of Death. Oh, Touch of Death is
No!
no.
This is so bad for Team Name. What did the Angels heal to full?
And that means... Yeah, can they kill this? Can they kill it with maybe? I mean, it's got all 3 abilities. They're all stacked up on everybody's. Oh! Curry goes down 2 right through the raid. Has to release. Now going to be taking
Beasts. Fleshcraft.
Wow, the Fleshcraft. Are they going to feast or are they going to click this button? Is the question.
They're gonna wipe it up and then go again.
Okay, yeah, not going to use the feast, it looks like, are the members of Team Name as they now fly upstairs. Meanwhile, the opportunity is back in Obey Alliance's hands.
This means that Echo has to make up some percentage later on somewhere.
So this is typically the biggest difference between that Shackled Soul Pack and not playing it is typically going to be that patrol that's in the Gore Chop wing. So there have been teams that have been skipping that Sludge Spewer, like Butcher patrol.
Butcher.
Yeah, and Aster Y has decided that pack they don't want anything to do with that. They would rather just play that one Shackled Soul Pack off to the side. But Echo, if they're able to pull off that Gore Chop pull with that patrol and do it super clean, then that can save them a lot of time. And Echo here, they have absolutely perfect bolstering management on those mages in that Bone Reaver. That was absolutely phenomenal to see.
All right, well, the cooldowns are popped for once. Yoda hasn't popped his quite yet.
Yeah.
This seems like it's early. Is Ambition just going to go for this? No, I mean, they already pushed it, right? They're getting
Ambition's just doing more dam. Yeah,
they are doing more dam, but it looked like they committed their Ravenous Frenzy CA combo there to try to push that second guessing game phase, and they didn't get it, so it's not going to be on the table then.
Here comes Yoda, yeah.
Though. This is it. Can Incarnation get it? They got the freeze tag. Are they going to get the guessing game? They did get the guessing game. Can they kill it before the cast finishes?
Yes, they can.
They do kill the boss. That is a massive time save for Incarnation. They just saved easily 20 seconds, and the fact that they're already ahead of Ambition, they don't have to worry about killing that extra trash pack at all because they killed the first trash pack in the dungeon. Incarnation are so far ahead in the driver's seat right now. This boss kill is going to be easily a minute faster than Ambition's. Yeah, and I remember I was talking to Dorky about this series earlier, and he said, you know, if we win the Miss, I think we're in a good spot, but our next 2 dungeons are very, very shaky.
Wow.
Duncan
There's more.
A great pick, but
There's more. Cryptix is playing not Frost, not Fire.
He's Arcane?
The Magus
What?
Arcanus has been the next pick for Incarnation. Another meta-breaking decision by them. Wow. Let's see what this thing can do. Zyro, you're a little bit of a mage expert yourself. What would be the strengths of the Arcane spec?
So the only reason that I can think of playing Arcane in this dungeon whatsoever is to try to cheese Fungalmancer stacks that try to permanently spell steal those damage buff stacks that the Fungalmancer keeps casting that Wonder Grow. And you can see they're keeping it alive. The thing is,
run through Sanguine,
yeah, the Arcane Mage essentially has an infinite mana bar if you use it properly with your evocation, which gives you free mana every time you channel it. So as long as they're playing perfectly,
damage. What
yeah,
is this Cryptix damage right here?
That's Arcane.
This is all single target. He's doing 60,000 DPS on single target against Flogbrog. Excuse me.
Well, okay, so the damage profile for Arcane, so you know how we talked about Fire Mage has high highs and low lows? So take that and then stretch it out to an extreme. Arcane has like giga high highs and giga low lows, especially if he's using, as I'm assuming he's going to be using, the Arcane Harmony Legendary. Yes, so he's pretty much going to be spamming missiles. Every single time a missile tick hits, you gain a stack of this buff that increases the damage of your next Arcane Barrage, and then you double down on that damage increase on your Barrage by playing Kyrian, which gives you an ability that increases the damage of your next few abilities by even more damage. So it all builds up to this one massive hit of Barrage, which, when you have that damage increase buffed up from the Fungalmancer, can burst for 50, 60k single target DPS. The question is how good this is going to be for the rest of the dungeon. Yeah, it killed the first boss really, really fast, but is this sustainable over the long course of the dungeon? I'm really excited to see how this works. That's definitely a little scary. Dwarfrace will not have cooldown for another 20 seconds or so either, so he's just going to have to eat the entirety of this bleed, making his healer do something that they never really want to do in a dungeon, and that is heal. Man, Elismir is probably really pissed off right now.
Yeah, you can see in his face there, he is fuming as he has to cast something that is not a damaging ability on Azuna. Really just one of the harshest boss fights here for healers. Hoping that Azuna will Stoneform this next one so he can keep DPSing, and indeed Azuna does. You see Elismir cracking a big grin there, delighted by this turn of events as he now gets to just keep doing damage.
I think you might have a different player cam feed than me.
Well, the emotions are subtle, but they're there if you look closely.
Yeah, and now Ambition kind of hot on their heels. Onesie did have that death earlier in the dungeon, and that's kind of the difference between these two teams right now is just how much time that not being able to get that Marauder killed off was. But if you look on the left side of your screen, Aster Y is engaging this massive amount of trash up in the Necropolis, and they do a great job of using Sigil of Chains to get all of those mobs off of the Stitchworks to whenever the spear gets lobbed by the Rogue from the side of Aster Y, it's able to hit all of the mobs that they absolutely need it to. And Aster Y is dropping so low with all of the bursting. They get that massive spell that Nagura was talking about, but Xingqian ends up getting potted here, and that can be a time loss for Aster Y. However, no deaths coming through, and this is going to be okay for them.
This is so worth it because they saved a spear. They didn't use any weapons. Look, they still have a spear on the mage, they still have a spear on the rogue, and they might even still have a spear on the Shadow Priest too. They have so many weapons left still that they can use. This is incredible. If they can use them on the bosses exclusively, they're going to be so much quicker.
He's able to kite out the boss. Great job of using that Fleshcrafter's Cleaver to be able to just end off that fight. And now they're going to Hodge the Fleshcrafter before going upstairs. That is actually a very important point of this, is that whenever the Fleshcrafter is Hodged, once it comes out of the CC, it is liable to teleport a lot faster if it's in that Hodge before you go up top. And hey, that's how you save a lot of time in MDI, is just these small optimizations that if you're doing a key on live, you're like, okay, that's only going to cost us a little bit of time. But for Aster Y, that 5 seconds means everything.
Yeah, it definitely does. And now Both of them are moving to the right side to get to the Mechagon wing, basically. They do... oh no! They're not actually falling in! That is so unfortunate. That is going to be a pretty big time loss for them, because he's going to have to release and go all the way back. 8 seconds difference in favor of Ambition for the second boss split, but 5 seconds in favor for Aster Y in the first boss split. So they're just really equal here, as Nerf is now pulling that Enraged Spirit to the side, using the Shadow Melt to de-aggro, while everyone else is just walking past. Actually, Nerf did manage to de-aggro, and he needs to fall into his death. So that means that the Nerf...
Oh, he released.
Yes, and they can't get the Master Dress off either because of those masks spawning. So now the death penalties are going to be equal. And Aster Y pretty sure is going to be in the lead at this point, because it looks like Ambition were just a little bit slower in the rest of the dungeon, and therefore the time that Aster Y lost is less crucial compared to the time that Ambition. But they still have weapons left. Aster Y still has one spear, while Echo, I think they have a hammer maybe, but Aster Y having that spear is going to be such a crucial thing. And look at that, they're already on their way to the last boss. Aster Y having such a huge advantage now with all of the cooldowns being available. And you can see that spear, I believe it's under a mage. There we go, in a second. Oh yeah.
You can see the spear
okay, there we go.
So I think it's even across
the board.
Alright,
so 2 spears. Okay. Well, look at that, Aster Y now engaging the boss a couple of seconds earlier, all of the cooldowns being committed, and now it's all going to be about that Dark Exile cast. Echo now also on the boss. This is so close between the two teams.
But Aster Y finishing off Sitch Flesh so much faster. Echo's going to have to do it again. They've done it so many times in the tournament already. They did it in Spires of Ascension against Ambition. They pulled single target damage out of nowhere. They're doing it again. They started this boss 20% behind. They have pulled that to within 15%. The first Dark Exiles are going to be going out here very, very soon. Looks like ZyBB has the bop there just to deal with that. But again, Echo pulling it to within 5% here as well. Yellow taking a lot of damage, not yet proccing that cheat death. This is too close to count. It's a single target, pure DPS race, and it's going to come down to the second set of exiles here.
They got the grip on Aster Y. You can see the Rogue has the debuff and did not get exiled. He's still here. So they managed to get the grip on perfectly.
He doesn't have cloak, though.
The Rogue is gonna die though in a second whenever that debuff runs out. But the boss might die before the debuff even runs out in the Rogue. You can see Echo is so close behind with the damage that they have on that boss. But Aster Y just a couple of seconds ahead as the boss drops lower and lower.
Aster Y down below 10% here. That Rogue is going to die in the next 15 seconds. Can they finish this off before that happens and they add the death timer to the board? It looks like it is going to happen. Now they're down below 3%, but Anuo has gone down. Their healer has gone down as well. The boss has his shield. They don't have any weapons to deal with this. They have to get their tanks up. There's no way you can deal with this with no tank alive. Rogue going down as well. This is a disaster for Aster Y in the final moments of this dungeon. They were home free and they choked at the last second. Echo, on the other hand, has cleaned it up. Everyone is alive and on the platform. The boss gained its final shield at 3%, but everybody is alive. That is key. That goes down to the second too, but the cleaver is going to finish the boss off, and you don't need a tank to finish that crafter off. What a finish. Echo takes the third game of the series and puts themselves on match point.
Oh my goodness gracious. Just when you thought Aster Y was home free, the deaths just start rolling in for the team and they're not able to recover. Echo up 1 in the series now. They're on match point like you said there. Echo rolled through and survived their own tank dying, Dratnos.
Wow, I mean, if Aster loses this series, that is going to be one that haunts them for all time. I mean, that 5% on the boss's health, they were ahead by so much, and then it just gets down to 3%, and their tank dies. They just can't quite get over the finish line. What a crazy end to a game that was basically perfect from both teams up to that point. Not 100% perfect, but very, very intensive dungeon. You know, there's so
placed
many...
all on one side for them, bring them to the middle, pull up the mantle of that spear of the bulwark. I think Jack would like to
Don't miss the spear.
Don't miss the spear, exactly. They've got the spear. Devos is down, the boss is at 15%, and oh man, Echo, you can run, you can hide, you can knock them out of the group stages early on, you can ratio them on Twitter, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. When we get to the global finals, one team consistently plays better than everyone else in the WoW PvE scene. And Echo is going to be taking down their 4th straight MDI Global Finals victory over Aster Y.
Last bit of percent, and there it is. Echo, no deaths whatsoever, and even after multiple little breaks, make sure they have all the cooldowns, couple little stops here and there for safety. They have an absolutely flawless run through Spires of Ascension. They are going to be our Season 2 MDI Global Champions, overcoming the best that every region has to offer. Congratulations here, Dranos, to Echo.